Hello everyone and welcome to Helix Plays Games. My name is Richie and joining me this week is the host of Talking the PS and the host of ClickerCast at CyberChris2077.
Xbox,
indeed.
You know what that was from? I forgot I usually say Halo because I wasn't on last week's show, and then my brain's very foggy at the moment as I still recover. And I was like, I know I make an X with my hands, but I can't remember what I say with it. So I just went Xbox. Hi everyone, I'm half back.
And he's ill, it's fine. He'll live or not, we'll figure it out. And joining us as well is Mr. Rob.
Xbox.
This is already a weird show. Talking about a weird show, we've got a great show lined up for you this week. We'll be discussing an Xbox Developer Direct showcase being announced, video games being awesome, and Xbox Oreos. Should they be green? All that and much, much more on this week's XPass. But before we get into it, make sure if you haven't already, like the video and subscribe to the channel or your podcast feed of choice with notifications turned on so you're kept in the loop of all our great content here at Helix Plays Games, such as the aforementioned ClickerCast every single Tuesday evening. We break down HBO's The Last of Us show and we do a deep dive in every single episode. We'll be doing an episode Talking the PS. It comes out on the Tuesday morning, where we break down all the PlayStation news in the clouds, brought to you by Sony. And I think we need to probably just mention it in this show that CloudQuest is on hiatus. The last episode of CloudQuest we did, episode 101, we go into detail of what we're doing with that show and what the future is going to be. So if you want to know why there was no CloudQuest coming this Friday, go watch last week's and all the information will be there. Other than that, we have our live streams where last weekend we did our last ever Google Stadia stream, our Stadia Disconnect. We got to play a Worm game. I don't know what else we played because we haven't done that yet because we're recording Saturday morning. But yeah, go check out all that great stuff. But let's jump into it. We're starting with Chris. Have you been playing anything interesting?
Witcher. More of The Witcher. I've not had much gaming time. I've been away with work this week, so I did take my Razer Kishi with the intention to play some cloud games, and then I ended up just eating junk food in the hotel and watching.
I don't want to know what you're watching in the hotel, Chris.
It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, because like Rob said, I'm on that binge now. I'm up to season 10. So
season 10.
Yeah. So I'm just working my way through them in the background while I'm doing things. So yeah. Not long to go, but I'm thoroughly enjoying it.
You know what? I've never watched a single episode, but I have watched tons of like YouTube compilations and clips and stuff. I probably should actually watch some episodes.
I mean, they're only like 20 minutes long anyway.
Yeah.
So
I think that's why the first season, because they're only like 10 episodes a season, so it's not that crazy. It doesn't seem like I've just sat and watched. And again,
it's a couple of hours a season. It's like sticking a movie on.
And yeah, and like being away with work as well, I've just got like 3-4 hours to myself. So it's like, well, I'm not going to watch anything on the normal shitty hotel TV. I've got my tablet with me, so I'll just watch what I want to watch. And yeah, stick that on, have a good time. What else are you going to do in a hotel room?
I don't know. Sleep.
Nothing at all.
Because I don't take my console with me anymore. So I know, Richie, I think on last week's show you mentioned I used to travel around.
Yeah.
So I had a PS4 bag set for my PS4. Sorry, Mini.
Sorry.
And Mini Pro, whatever it was called, the Special Slim Edition. And when we got Stadia, it was like, I don't need to lug this thing around anymore. So I just started using cloud gaming, and then occasionally I did take my Switch with me, and then with the intention to play Pokemon, and I just can't bring myself to play that game in its current state, and I just don't have that bug. So it's like, I'm just going to put it to a side. I'll play The Witcher. There's some fantastic games coming to GamePass at the end of this month, so plenty for me to check out.
Yeah, I think the Switch is one of them. It's always, if you're travelling anywhere, it's one of them things I always just throw in my bag on the off chance. Like, you never know when I've got an hour to kill in a hotel. I'll just pull out my Switch for a bit. Like, I do the same with my Kishi now, even though I don't really play any games on my phone. It just gets chucked in the bag.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What about yourself, Rob?
In terms of the Xbox ecosystem, I've dipped a little bit into High on Life because I still actually haven't completed that game. Despite picking it up before Christmas, it's one of those where like stuff's just kind of like pushed it out the way. So like I got like the PlayStation 5 and I started playing Ghost of Tsushima, and then I've got my ongoing addiction to RTS games on PC to kind of satiate. So it's made, a bit of life, a bit of High on Life. I just got Gus, the kind of frog type gun, so I'm enjoying that. But same with Chris, I haven't had a major amount of time to sink into games this week, unfortunately, but such is life.
Yeah, I'm kind of in a similar boat where work has kind of started up again for the year, so I'm back at work. I'm actually a little down on my hours, so I'm actually putting the extra half hour here, 15 minutes there to try and get my hours back up because we work a bit flexy. I've also been like trying to get back onto all the health and fitness stuff, so I've been trying to go to the gym during the week rather than having it stacked in the weekends. Because one thing towards the end of last year, I was a bit with struggling to schedule when we're like trying to figure out the scheduling of when we're going to record, and then I'm also trying to think about when I'm going to go like the gym or go for runs, which then I need to plan like eating around that, and it just felt like my weekends were just like overloaded with like things that I needed to schedule. So I've tried to move the exercise stuff more to during the week, but that just means that during the week I kind of get home from work, I have some food, I'll play a bit of guitar, go to the gym, get back, and then you're looking like 9 o'clock. It's already getting quite late, so I haven't sunk my teeth into much. I did play the One Piece Odyssey demo, which I'll talk about tomorrow on Talking the PS, because I played it on PlayStation. For no other reason than when I downloaded it while I was at work, and I just logged onto the PlayStation app because I'm more familiar with the PlayStation app than the Xbox app for sending stuff to my console. Other than that, I have been playing a bit of Plague Tale Requiem, but I don't know about you, Chris. You played on PlayStation, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's running very well on Xbox. It feels a bit kind of framey, a bit not. I'm not getting any jutters, but it's like not smooth. It almost feels like I wish there was an option. No, local, native. I almost wish there was an option to go into the settings and have like a toggle, like frame rate toggle. It just feels like, I don't know whether it's an issue with the Series S or whether it's the game.
Well, we all know the Series S is holding the industry back now, if you'd read some articles out there.
Yeah.
Not the Nintendo Switch, it's the Series S.
It just doesn't feel like, after playing Innocence, it just doesn't feel as smooth and as crisp. And it's like, I almost wish I could dial the graphics back a little bit just to get that bit of snappiness. So I wouldn't say it's buggy, it doesn't feel as good to play as Innocence did, even if it does look miles better. So it's just like one of them, I haven't really got into it for that kind of reason.
Yeah, I did the first look for our channel through Cloud, and I had a few issues with that, but that was probably just more down to the cloud nature of it. But yeah, played through the whole thing on PS5 and didn't have an issue. I
might try deleting the game and playing through on Cloud, see if it does resolve the issues, because the Cloud theoretically should be Series X version, or at least the hardware might be better. It just feels like my Xbox is not quite running it as well as I'd like. But yeah, it's just
enjoying the story though.
I've barely started. I'm literally like chapter 2.
All right, cool.
In chapter 1, more of a prologue.
The bee people, yeah.
I've done that bit. I've got to the first town. You go through the market up to your house.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I left off, because I'm struggling to just get in. When I'm playing, it just feels like when you move the camera, it just feels a bit, just not that smooth pan that you kind of want when you. I might get over it, but so far it is something I've noticed.
Interesting. Those beekeepers in general are quite scary if you think about it. If you didn't know what a beekeeper was, and you were just out in the wild, and there was just these like giant guys come at you with like full on white suits and like mesh faces, and you can't quite hear the voice. It's quite intimidating. Zombie beekeepers, they're going to be the future of horror games. I'm telling you right now.
Maybe that's like the new Last of Us spin-off. This time it's bees.
Zombie beekeepers.
Not the bees. Shall we get into the show properly then? Would you like to introduce us to
the excellently exuberant excavated Xbox expose, aka
the news?
The news.
That's doing your thing, Rob.
No, I had a bit of a pregnant
Don't steal my
pause.
thing, okay? I thought long and hard about my thing on talking to PS, and then you've just taken it, and I feel you haven't done the work, okay?
Sorry.
Yeah.
All those years of practice.
Yeah, Rob. No one else is allowed to do a pregnant pause. That's Rob's thing now.
Yes.
So if anyone in any other podcast is doing it, you've ripped it off Rob, even if you did it before him.
That's how it works. Copyright.
How it works, yeah. And as usual, our news section is brought to you by Helix Heroes, where you can join for as little as 99p. That gives you early access to Talking the PS, custom emojis, badges in the chat, all that sort of good stuff.
New
and
emojis as well.
New emojis specifically for the Clickercast. You'll have to tune in to episode 1 of the Clickercast tomorrow evening to find out what they are. So, first story of the week. Xbox have only went and done it. They're hosting a developer showcase.
They've done it. They've done what they should have
Well,
done
they
at the
haven't
Game
yet.
Awards. Well, that's
They
true,
haven't yet, but yeah.
Yeah. But it's announced. It's formally announced. And it will be on January the 25th. Reading from the Xbox blog. Xbox and Bethesda will present a developer direct to get it right, on Wednesday, January the 25th, providing fans with an inside look at some games coming to Xbox, PC, and Game Pass over the next few months. Presented by the games creators themselves from studios including Arcane Austin, Mojang Studios, 1010 Studios, and ZeniMax Online Studios, the Developer Direct will focus on big features, extended gameplay showcases, and the latest info for Xbox games launching in the next few months, including The Elder Scrolls Online, Forza Motorsport, Minecraft Legends, and Redfall.
Why has it got an underscore?
I don't know.
Do we have to pronounce the underscore? Like
That makes
you
it more
actually-
techie.
Do you say underscore out loud, like when you read it? Like, is there
No,
what's the grammatically correct way of reading that?
I think it's just the way they've stylized it on the graphics. Every press outlet has put the underscore, and I'm straight up stealing from Kind of Funny where they're pronouncing the underscore, and decided I'm going to do that too.
Yeah.
Developer underscore direct.
Like,
Do you
technically-
think developer direct's just like copyright by someone else?
Well, from a presentation perspective, what you have to do is it's pronounced developer direct.
See what he did there.
That's how long an underscore is in presentation terms.
Is that how an underscore works?
I don't know. It's
I
not
don't think
meant
it's-
to
I
be.
don't
It's not
think it
meant
was
to
ever-
be next
yeah.
to words, is it? It's
I
like
don't think in literature it really serves any kind of real purpose. It's more of like a digital thing, so where spaces don't work in a lot of things like URLs and stuff, the underscore serves as a placeholder.
Yeah. It's kind of like the hashtag. Like, the hashtag is completely something different than what it was initially intended for.
yeah.
Yeah.
And, like, I reckon if you ask a kid today what, like, a hashtag is, they wouldn't know anything outside of, like, social media.
The key is just called hash. The tag
Well,
bit is referring to like a tag on like a social media thing, and I think Americans call it the pound sign on the phone and stuff.
No, like my granddad does that as well.
Yep.
So when it comes to like, press this on your phone, granddad, to make this work. I'm like, oh, press the hashtag. He's like, what the bloody hell's a hashtag? That's like,
Yeah,
What is a hashtag? Not related to hash browns.
I
no.
had some hash browns this morning. They
Hash
were
browns are
delicious.
fucking amazing.
They are, yeah.
They are. They really are.
You know,
some
despite the
hash
whole
browns.
trying to look after my diet stuff, I can fit hash browns in.
There's always room for hash browns.
There is, there actually is. It's not even that difficult to fit them in.
Is the room to talk about the games that are going to be showcased on the developer underscore
Quite
direct?
possibly.
Yeah.
Where do you want to start?
Richie's like, yeah,
Richie's
go
like,
on.
Yeah, that's
might as well.
Richie's thinking about ordering hash browns for dinner as well as lunch.
I do have some more in the freezer.
Wow.
Which one where do you want to start? So we know there's definitely 4 games announced that it's going to be covering. Elder Scrolls Online, Forza Motorsport, Minecraft Legends, and Redfall.
I mean, I would say the biggest story is like the one we can't talk about in this news article, which is Starfield, which
Yes.
isn't being included in this and is having its own kind of showcase, which is a bit. I get why they're doing it, but also this kind of loses a bit of edge, I think.
It's kind of like a two-prong approach, isn't it? It's like they clearly think it's that good and that big, it deserves its own standalone show, or they're wary about the show's going to run too long, and if you put this at the end of it, it might not land as well, kind of get lost in the mix a little bit, like there's going to be comparisons made to other games and such. My biggest thing from this whole announcement is we've got to get some dates, right? Surely. Like, everything here is all just like 2023 or supposedly in the first half of this year. I want some dates at the end. Like, if we finish this showcase and we don't know when Redfall's coming out, we don't know when Starfield's coming out, I feel like everyone's going to be like, great, you showed us more of the games, but when? When do we get to play them? Because remember, Microsoft promised it would be first half of 2023, so they've got 5 months now.
Yeah,
and usually you have stuff dated. They
have said this will focus on games coming in the next few months. So for me, the next few months, I'd say is Q1 this year. So we're saying January, February, March, maybe April. But I wouldn't expect next few months. I wouldn't say May is included. So I actually, if they're going to do this kind of sort of like mini showcase, like maybe once a quarter, and go, hey, this is what we've got coming this quarter, I kind of don't mind that. It's more showcases, but rather than doing one big one, it also gives, I think, each individual game a bit more time to breathe, and the developers a bit more time to go, this is why you should play our game. Where, rather than like, because if Starfield was in here, all the headlines would be about Starfield.
Yeah, true.
This is giving the other games a bit more time to shine. I mean, we know 4 games. There might be more.
Well, it's an interesting cadence, because if you look at... So if everything does go to plan and they get all of these games out prior to June 1st, which is what they said at their announcement last year, it was all these games are coming in the next 12 months, which took us to June the 1st, I believe. What order do you put them out? Because there is a risk now that too much comes out at any given time and they end up trampling on their own. You'd ideally want for Game Pass one every 2 months, realistically. And where do you throw the dice? Like, if you throw Redfall first, does Starfield just gobble up Redfall if it comes out like a month or two later? Like, does it take all the oxygen away from the fire kind of thing? Minecraft Legends is going to be big. That's slated for spring, which is like April, May, right? So it's actually almost like they've left it so long for everything. They run the risk of being overstocked, and their attention, as you said, similar to the conference, our attention is going to be split, or are they all different enough? Because, like, let's face it, people who are playing Forza probably aren't as interested in Redfall or Minecraft, for example.
So you could have like Forza come 1 month, Redfall the next month, Minecraft the next, then maybe into Starfield or some other stuff. So I think you do kind of like, if you have a large set of first-party studios, you need to kind of almost plan out your year. And ideally, you probably want a first-party title, one big first-party title every single month, but different titles at different points of the year, so you don't get that kind of like Starfield and Redfall might be a little too close, although they are very different games. They might be trying to aim for the same subsection of gamers, so you like go, okay, we want to keep these apart. But like, yeah, Forza could come drop out the same month as Starfield, and not that wouldn't really affect each other's numbers too much. Maybe a little bit.
I'd agree.
Yeah, we don't know about the metrics of them either, do we? Because behind the scenes, like, I think PlayStation released Ghost of Tsushima and Last of Us Part 2 within a month of each other. Back in the summer of 2020, everyone was like, what the hell are they doing? And it seemingly didn't have any impact on them. Because again, I guess gamers, if they're buying games, they'll buy what they want to buy regardless. Yeah. So, but then again, Game Pass is a little bit different because it's a subscription service. Like, we're getting all of these games included for free. So regardless of our interest levels, I might be more inclined to try Forza, whereas I would never have bought it, but I'm inclined to play it. Same with Minecraft Legends. So it's a different approach, I guess, we're taking. I would just like to see some clarity on a roadmap so we can start getting excited for like, oh, we get to play this next month. We get to check this out in May. That's not that far away.
Yeah, like speaking of like the crowded like landscape as well, especially with these 4 games, I think the one that's like most at risk of being a victim of that is Redfall, because if you obviously Minecraft has its audience baked in, so does Elder Scrolls Online to an extent, and Forza as well. Like people who play Forza are quite religiously fanatic about playing Forza. So if they get this wrong, it's Redfall's going to suffer, which is a real shame because it looks like a solid title.
So this is Forza Motorsport, which is the more simulation version, not the Forza Horizon, which is the more arcadey version.
Yeah.
So you are probably right. This is kind of like, if you are a diehard racing fan, this is the Forza for you.
Yeah.
So I think these 4 titles do have their very different, like, maybe the closest you could argue is Minecraft Legends and Redfall, but even that's a bit of a stretch. Well, actually, Minecraft Legends it's PvP, multiplayer. Redfall is like, it's co-op, but but yeah, the difference.
With a new title, that's the risk, isn't it?
Yeah.
We've also not seen anything of Forza, so I would expect that's scheduled for like the back end of the year, because this is the first kind of time they've really embraced it, and we got Horizon at the back end of not last year, the year before.
They've said that these are the next few months, so all these 4 games I'd expect to see first half of this year at the latest. Like, so it's round the corner.
I didn't think Forza was included in that initial statement. I thought that's just worth
Forza
waiting.
Motorsports is in here.
No, not the developer _direct. The actual the statement 12 months ago. I didn't recall that being included.
All right.
So this has been attached to this developer direct as of now. So that's why I'm thinking that's an addition to this lineup, but that also in my mind puts it further back. And I don't think a delay to racing games really that has that much impact, because like Rob said, they have a dedicated audience regardless. So like if it comes out in January all the way through till Christmas, regardless of the month, they're probably going to buy it and play it whenever it launches. I think you've got the least risk involved as well.
It's one of them. You run the risk of, you want it probably launching around the same season as whenever the motorsport season calendar's kicking off. Imagine if like FIFA got delayed into the following year and you've had halfway through the season before the game drops. It might have a bit of that. I don't know how much that would affect it. If I've never played Forza Motorsport, so I don't know how focused it is on a specific like race calendar or something. Is like, but I don't think it's not updated every year, is it? So it's probably okay in this case.
Yeah.
It's not like maybe like an F1 game where you do want to ideally get it out at the start of the season, where like people's hype for the new season is at the highest.
Yeah, what I'd love to see from all these showcases is just like tons of gameplay. Like, show me why I should be excited. Like Rob said, Redfall looks really good, but I feel like I want to see enough to make me go, right, I'm sold, absolutely sold on this, because I'm all down for streaming it and playing it. And it does look like it'll be fun, but like, what's it going to do to get hooks in me? Where I'm like, no, I want to play this game for the next several months.
Yeah,
because like time's precious, and like Rob said, or else I'll just go play Starfield instead. And if they're so close, like, do I want to be playing Redfall all through May, going, this is awesome, but then Starfield drops and I absolutely forget Redfall even exists?
I want to know what sort of experience Redfall is going to be. Is this going to be like a Die Hard, you jump in every night for the space of like a month as you play through the story? Or is this a kind of jump in and out, you play through like a scenario, you play through a few scenarios with your mates, then you can put it down for a couple of weeks before you go back to it? That's what I want to know about Redfall, is like, because gameplay is like, you can see what the gameplay is. We have enough to say when you're in game what you're doing. It's where does it kind of fit in terms of how I want to approach playing this game. Like,
do you think we'll get any surprises? Like actual things that aren't on this list? Like one last thing?
What developments have we got? We've got Arcane Austin, so that's Redfall. Mojang, that's Minecraft. 1010 is Forza. ZeniMax is Elder Scrolls Online. So no, I don't think so. The developers have announced that are going to be there. They've also told us what game they're covering.
Okay.
So I mean, if each of these gets 15 minutes, there's an hour showcase. So I'd expect dates. There need to be dates on it. Well, on everything that doesn't have dates. I don't know if the new Elder Scrolls stuff has dates yet, but I'd expect dates at all of this.
Same.
But we're getting it. That's the main thing. We've been asking for it.
Yeah, January 25th. Not too far away as well. And
again, we do know there will be a Starfield one later in the year as well. So there's that to look forward to when that happens. But moving on now to the Xbox doubles its numbers in Japan. So yesterday we brought, this is reading from Pure Xbox, yesterday we brought news that Xbox Series X and Series S seem to be doing pretty well in Europe, as Microsoft's pair of current-gen consoles sold better across the region last year than in 2021, even if the jump was small at roughly 4%. Over in Japan, the growth is much, much more rapid. According to new figures from Famitsu, Xbox Series X and S combined 2022 sales were more than double of the region's 2021 sales. Last year, Microsoft sold 269,737 units in total, putting the lifetime Xbox Series X and S sales at 398,395 in Japan since their late 2020 launch. So Xbox seemingly looks like... Do you think they're on the verge of like truly cracking Japan? Because it's something they've not really ever managed.
I mean, for me, it's like if you times one, if you double one, you still only have two. That's like... That's the bigger context of the story, isn't it? So see, this is a thing I never really appreciated until relatively recently. Just how
percentage increases of small numbers is still just real world increase.
just like the actual penetration of Xbox in Japan is tiny. I don't know why, but I always assumed that the kind of console war that we have in kind of Western kind of Europe and the US would translate over there. I always knew that Sony would be better, but I didn't know to this extent really.
I think my kind of working theory for why that is largely just comes down to what games we've said for a while that Xbox have never traditionally haven't sought out like your JRPGs, like the games that are popular over Japan, where Sony is absolutely littered with them. So Sony does well. It's also Sony's a Japanese company that probably does add a bit. So if Microsoft to bring out this console, this console looks great, doesn't have any of the games I want to play.
Yeah.
Then
so how many did you say had been sold in total?
Just shy of about 400,000.
Yeah. So for context, I'm just reading an article from the 27th of October where PlayStation 5 hit kind of 2 million with stock issues. By October. So
you've been beaten fourfold already.
Yeah, so doubling's great. I get it, but
and again, that's not even factoring the Nintendo Switch, which again, cultural differences aside, the Nintendo, the portability factor, Japan just goes insane for anything portable, and the Switch hands down kicks the shit out of PlayStation and Xbox when it comes to sales. But I get where you're coming from, Rob. Less than 500,000 after 2 years after launch. The number, it's great to see positive improvement year on year.
Oh yeah.
But I think the chances of Microsoft ever winning in Japan are non-existent. Absolutely non-existent.
For me, this is not even about winning. It's about increasing your market share. So it's more seen as a viable solution to gaming in Japan.
And I bet a lot of that's come from the promise of undoubtedly the same value that we've seen in Xbox, the Series X and the All Access Pass, and the fact that Persona games and more JRPGs, like you said, are making their way over. If you're in Japan now and you can get them included on Game Pass, you've got the value and the games that you're looking for all in one bundle. And let's face it, the consoles, they're just as good as the other ones. They're just, again, for some reason, they haven't got that buy into the market because of just the diversity
of the library. I think Xbox, especially during maybe the 360 era, is often seen as the bro gamer console. It's for your Halos, your Call of Duties, your Gears, that kind of stuff. Where if that's not the sort of game that you're into, why would you get an Xbox? This is why I never had an Xbox for a long time. I looked at Halo, it looks like a good game for someone else.
Yeah, there's also there's an important kind of cultural element to the way both those companies do business as well. So, in terms of business practice, Japan is. I'm trying to make this they're very much kind of
family orientated,
very family orientated, and they're kind of there's a much bigger. We do it this way because that's how we've always done it type of culture, which is kind of a lot of their business practices just don't kind of gel well with the way a Western company would kind of
traditional, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, when a new CEO from the US tried to modernize Toyota, like he was getting like assassination attempts on him. That's how like kind of outrageous it was to kind of put Western business practices in place. So that must kind of harm kind of distribution and kind of like the things you can do there as well. So
Yeah.
but it's good to see that doubling, I guess. It's a start.
I'm hoping the trend continues as someone who does like Japanese games. The Xbox being more popular in Japan would naturally, you'd assume that more Japanese developers would get on board. You might see more like games like Persona come to Game Pass. So you might, even if it is not coming to Game Pass, come to the console. So I think it can only do well for Xbox. So just it helped that natural diversification of the portfolio.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. But yeah, let's move on. We're sticking with Game Pass for now, but it's looking rumoured that Ubisoft Plus might be arriving soon to Xbox. And this is apparently titles including Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Watch Dogs Legion, Far Cry 6 Division 2 and more are coming to the platform because there's apparently someone's found a previously unknown free tag associated with these games on the Xbox store, counting down to January 16th or 17th, so we might know more this week.
What, so that free tag, does that kind of imply that Ubisoft Plus is going to be rolled into Xbox Game Pass? Because that would be quite a good offering.
I don't know. I think there's like, on PlayStation, I think there is kind of a light version of it, where you get some games have been coming to PlayStation Plus, but not the full Ubisoft Plus back catalogue.
Yeah, they announced it back in the summer, didn't they? It was Ubisoft Classics, what they referred to them as, were part of the PlayStation.
That's what it's Classics. I just remember as it being light.
I realised I was talking to them, my microphone was muted as well. I was like,
I wanted to say something, but I didn't want to like...
Yeah,
like,
I realised when no one responded to me answering the question. Yeah, there was Ubisoft Classics, and they did acknowledge that Game Pass would be getting Ubisoft Plus at some point. Whether that was with an incremental amount of money, or it was just folded in with like Ultimate or something, we never quite knew. But January 16th, 17th is literally this week. So whether we get an announcement as like soon as this week, or it might be part of the developer direct, but seemingly Ubisoft need the money and the help right now. And
we'll talk a bit about that tomorrow and talk to the PS.
Yeah, and while Microsoft wait on this Activision Blizzard deal to close, they seemingly need to flesh out Game Pass with some more value, and throwing in games like Far Cry 6 for, I don't know, February, and then Valhalla for March or something will probably go a long, long way. We've seen PlayStation do it with the PlayStation Plus rejuvenation. It just seems like Ubisoft are just pimping themselves out to anyone and everyone now.
They just need cash in the bank, right?
And you know what? If you tell me with my Game Pass subscription, I'm going to get to play Rainbow Six Extraction for free rather than have to buy it again because no one's played it since last January when it launched, fair enough. I might jump into it again once or twice. So I think it will inevitably happen. Similar to EA Play, I think it might be kind of like some things are free, but more likely you'll just get a discount.
Yeah, I think maybe Classics is the way to go. So stuff that's maybe a year or two old, you get. But the new stuff you have to buy. Or you can get Ubisoft Plus full fat and then you get everything.
Yeah. If there was an additional fee to pay, would you be happy to pay it for like the full kind of Ubisoft Plus?
It all depends on the amount, because like I don't mind paying the difference for Ultimate, because I think getting the PC games included is like such an extra good perk with Game Pass.
And you get cloud stuff.
So if it was just a few pound more, like if they go full out like Ubisoft Plus price and try and charge like $15.99 on top of Game Pass, that ain't gonna fly. It needs to be subsidized somewhat, and I think Microsoft probably know that because they want to keep the value of Game Pass looking shit hot. So I think, I mean, they did it with EA Play. It might just be straight up like included.
Yeah, for me,
that'll be a big win.
For me, it's rare that Ubisoft game is a must-play day and date. So I've kind of in the past I've been advocated Ubisoft Plus for like, you know what, if the next Assassin's Creed game, Mirage, comes out, and I don't know, I can't know the price point off the top of my head. Let's say it comes out at say £40, or it's $15.99 for a month of Ubisoft Plus. I'd be very tempted to just get Ubisoft Plus for a month. I've got Assassin's Creed, but then I also have the rest of the library. if I want to jump into stuff. So if you don't need to own the game, have it always in your library, then I think Ubisoft Plus can be a very good thing, even at arguably slightly too high price point. If you just look at it as purely how much money I'm paying to get access to this game for the length of time that I actually want access to it.
Yeah, like the crazy thing with like Ubisoft games now is that they, like, especially on, I'm noticing more on, like in the past 6 months or so, like a lot of their like big titles seem to be on like perpetual sale and at like really massive sale amounts as well. So like kind of like that would put me off paying an additional amount of money for.
Because the stock is plummeting at the moment. They're having a really rough time of it. Like last year, I think was brutal for Ubisoft in terms of like them as a business. And everyone's looking at them at the moment going into this year and going, what's your prospects? The only thing that I think really coming that's getting people excited is Mirage, which is by definition is designed to be a smaller title. So that's, you're not going to make that. They won't be looking at Mirage going, this is going to do Valhalla numbers. Other than that, they've got Siege that keeps running, and that's about it. Skull and Bones delayed forever. They've cancelled lots of games. The entire corporate Ubisoft entity is kind of a mess, but I don't want to dwell too much on that because we do talk quite extensively tomorrow on Talking to PS about it.
We do.
Anything to add on Ubisoft before we move on, Chris?
Just the cancelled games, I guess, that happened this week as well, but like I said, we'll cover it more tomorrow.
Yeah. All right, let's move on now to, sticking with Game Pass for a little bit longer. Xbox Game Pass Friends and Family test page is now showing up in the US. So it looks like there might be a family plan for Xbox Game Pass.
Yeah, it's been rumoured for some time, I think. We've seen a couple of leaks before. We know it was I think it was Northern Ireland was being beta tested somewhere. But again, it's all this news that we're talking about with like the Developer Direct, the Family Pass, Ubisoft Plus. It just makes you think, could they not have shown any of this at the Game Awards? Like it seems like they're stacked to make so many like big announcements for the benefit of their whole offerings. And if they came out and said, Family Pass available now, or look at these games, or we've got a Developer Direct coming soon, or Ubisoft Plus coming January 16th, like that would have got at least some kind of pop at the Game Awards. But evidently they've stacked all the cards now, and hopefully they're ready to talk about them soon, kicking off with the Developer Direct at the end of this month, and then we'll hear about Game Pass and Ubisoft Plus, and then maybe Family Plan as well. But
this is
great.
This is one I can see in this Developer Direct, kind of like an in-between like developer segment kind of thing. And coming up later this year is Game Pass for Friends and Family, whatever the pricing structure is going to be. Maybe is it a higher price point or whatever that's going to be. Like it's short. Here's a couple of minutes to pad out the runtime, but we'll drop some important, like small but important news. Other Xbox news we have is Xbox apparently going carbon neutral. Which
this is a bit of a strange one, right? Well, not strange in the, but it like for such like a kind of heavy, kind of electricity consuming product, they're going carbon. Actually, this is carbon aware. Actually,
carbon aware.
That's the phrase they're using, which I think means like a low power mode, right?
Probably. I mean, there is stuff. It depends really how in depth they're going with this. Are they talking about just the console, or they're talking about the organization? I mean, Microsoft claims that for every 2 Xbox consoles switching to shutdown mode, it will save the carbon equivalent of 1 tree planted and grown for a decade. So that's actually kind of pretty, like, quite a lot, really. So it does seem to be like low power modes for the console and stuff.
Yeah, it is based on the average of a console being on like shut down for 20 hours every single day, which is a bit of a weird metric, but whatever.
Yeah, so you play it for 4 hours a day, right?
That'll probably be an average play thing that they've got from their metrics of how often people play, how often people have a console shut down versus on standby and stuff.
Yeah, it says it's part of Microsoft's bigger effort to become carbon negative and water positive and zero waste by 2030, which is just Microsoft's big push. I'm surprised they haven't said for like every Series S purchased, we'll plant a tree. That seems to be like the easiest business get out for these kind of things.
Oh, it is, yeah. Because the company itself doesn't even have to plant the trees; it just gets hires some other company to do it.
You do a donation to a company, to a partner.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad they're not going that route and they're actually looking at their own footprint. How can we actually reduce what we're doing rather than just doing an offset thing? Because, yeah, the offset stuff is good, but still doesn't change the fact that you're burning an absolute ton of energy, in some ways probably needlessly.
Yeah.
So if they can, yeah, I think you have to probably do both. You need to plant more trees, but big organisations do need to look at their carbon footprint and in the case of gaming, PC gaming, I think can be the worst, where the power draw for components is going up and up and up and up and up.
Oh god, yeah.
And there's this
it's
rate
scary.
at the moment. Nvidia and AMD seem to be having this rate to bring out more powerful graphics card every year. And I'm sat there I don't want a more powerful graphics card. What I want is an energy efficient card that is at a price point that isn't 3 times the cost of an Xbox Series X. So it actually makes it sensible to buy for most gamers who aren't hardcore PC gamers, or need a proper workstation for 3D modeling, all sorts of stuff. And it just seems to be tech companies are just focusing, in my opinion, on the wrong thing, especially with energy bills at the moment going up.
Oh yeah, running this PC is depressing at the moment. It really is.
Just don't look at how much power you're using.
Yeah, I'm just very, very happy I don't have one
you're
of those.
You're playing Command and Conquer. You're not using any power for that.
I know, but that's a bit worse because I'm you have to run it through the hardware, don't you? But
yeah.
I feel I'm very lucky I don't have one of those kind of devices that monitors individual usage on
smart meter.
Oh,
yeah,
you'd never be a PC gamer again.
But yeah, it's a good kind of step forward for Microsoft.
Yeah.
Again, it's anything that's going to impact the planet positively.
That's
good
it
to do, right? They could just do nothing, but they're not. They're being proactive about it, so that's what you want.
And if this is going to be a BIOS update, some sort of patch to the system of your already existing console that helps reduce the power consumption, that's going to be good for your wallet as well.
Mm-hmm. Richie will plant a tree for every comment you leave down below.
I'd love to be able to do that, but unfortunately I will not be doing that.
But all you need is a shovel and
Yeah.
some seeds.
Some seeds, it's easy.
And some land. I don't own... Well, I own some land.
You've been saying to me for years, I want to do something with that garden.
Yeah, but
Like, no one's going to arrest you if you just plant trees in random places. It's like...
They won't know until it's too late.
Yeah, it's like...
I just, in the middle of the night, just hack up the road, plant a tree, and just walk off.
No, you don't. It's a seed, Richie. You're not planting a whole tree. Just go out with a little dibber and pop up.
Don't do it in a road either. Trees can't grow in roads.
No, tell that to our local council. There's plenty of roots fucking up pavements all over the place. But we digress.
Yeah,
talk about dragons, Richie.
Are we talking about dragons? All right.
So.
I was going to talk about Forza, but let's talk about dragons. So, Toys for Bob are working on a new Spyro game, allegedly.
There you are.
So it's not confirmed, but Spyro the Dragon may be making a return in 2023. Gaming's most beloved adolescent dragon made a surprise appearance this week in social media posts by Spyro Reignited Trilogy and Crash Bandicoot 4. It's about time developers Toys for Bob. So I think they're celebrating. They're doing a bit of a celebration. They've posted on Twitter big moves and big mood for 2023, and just an image, and Spyro is a tiny little dragon tucked away in the corner there.
Yeah. They've been teasing it for some time. I've been saying it for some time. They did the Crash Bandicoot ones, the trilogy. Then we got the Crash Team Racing. And then we got It's About Time, number 4. We got the Spyro trilogy. It was a great little remake, but we never got a 4th entry. And it's kind of like, come on, do it. And gentlemen, just thinking of timing and game development, guess what the year of the dragon is for Chinese New Year?
2023.
No, it's actually 2024, but I think the amount of time games take to make, it'll probably come out next year. So yeah, I'm telling you, Year of the Dragon next year. Spyro's going to be back with the first new entry in ages. And I'm hyped.
Do you think there's anybody who doesn't support a new Spyro game? Like, like
Kids and
it's
adults
like
alike, right?
Yeah, it's like universally the thing that people have asked for more and more, I think.
I've no real solid nostalgia for Spyro, but what I'm taking from this is Toys for Bob are making games that aren't just Call of Duty. They're not just a Call of Duty support studio.
Yeah.
Because I remember
absolutely.
when like Toys for Bob and Vicarious Visions were kind of just like, hey, you've done some great stuff, now make Call of Duty. And I was just like, oh.
Yeah,
really,
you've made Activision look good for once.
Yeah.
And then let's just get them on Call of Duty support.
I sometimes wonder with stuff like this, is this Microsoft's influence already at work?
Hopefully.
Activision, they shouldn't be, from a legal point of view, they should not be interfering, but are they interfering?
But then how many tweets and stuff and posts have you seen from Activision staff saying about, I can't believe people are trying to block the Activision merger. It's like, they don't own you yet. Stop kissing their ass. They don't own you yet. You can't come out and talk about all these like financial regulation companies are clamping down the deal and acting as though like they've already bought you. But then again, Microsoft talking about like making deals with Nintendo to bring Call of Duty to Nintendo. Why the fuck are you talking about that when you haven't closed the deal yet still? So either way, in terms of Spyro though, I would rather we got a new Spyro game than whatever this Crash Team Rumble fighting game is. Like, I guarantee you a new Spyro game will sell more than Crash Team Rumble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm okay.
Because we actually know what a Spyro game would be, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. That's true, yeah.
I'm okay with them cycling through like different styles of Crash game. If they want them to turn Crash into like effectively Xbox's Mario, as weird as it is to say, it will be Xbox's Mario, not Sony's. Where you have your core series games where every few years you'll bring out Crash 5, Crash 6, so on and so on. But then you have the kind of like spin-off party games, which you try and bring out a new Crash or a new Spyro game one a year.
Yeah. I just like the thought, like, this will be one I'll play with the wife as well, because she loves the original Spyro trilogy. And when we played the Reignited trilogy a few years ago now, like, she knew where all the gems were, all the diamonds were, and I was like, holy shit, you actually know, like, a video game like the back of your hand, like, without a guide or anything. And she's like, oh, me and my friend used to play this so much as a kid. And it's just one of the moments where you're like, as a gamer, you're like, oh, I'm proud of you.
I'm proud of you.
You do good. So, like, a new Spyro game for brand new for both of us. Like, we've never been able to do that yet. So, yeah. Year of the Dragon, calling it. Announced this year, 2024 release.
Game Awards, you reckon?
Potentially, yeah, if Microsoft show up for it.
It might.
And if
Microsoft own it. It is a big if, because moving on to our next story, Google and Nvidia have concerns about the Activision Blizzard King deal. I just want let's put the Nvidia stuff aside here.
Yeah.
Let's focus on considering the history of our channel. Google have concerns about this deal in one of the things regards to cloud gaming.
They have no right to talk about anything.
No.
Like, if they can talk about mobile gaming, that's fine. They can do that. They cannot touch any other part of gaming for their fucking performance. Their ludicrous display over the past few years.
Yeah, Google forfeited their right to have any input on this when they fucked up Stadia so badly. So, get out.
Bear in mind, this story kind of broke on January the 12th, approximately a week before they were about to take Google Stadia out back and finally shoot it in the face. Like, it was like, how tone deaf as an organisation can you be? Google's like, hey, we have concerns about this deal because of how strong it'll make Microsoft in cloud games. Like, you're not involved in cloud gaming anymore.
Yeah,
it's like, what's it got to do with you?
Yeah.
Like, really, they're trying to protect the mobile position, aren't they?
Yeah.
On the Play Store. But, like, even so, like, the thing is,
it
like...
feels a bit bandwagony as well, jumping in at this point.
Yeah. It's like a cheap way to, like, just stick the boot in, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah,
because you fucked up.
Yeah, like, more and more, like, I think... Because Google's such, like, a company that has such a runaway success, it's kind of like the Elon Musk thing, where it's like, you have, like, such runaway initial success on a project, and, like, you get to, like, a point where, like, I actually don't think they're as good as businesses, like, you'd be led to believe.
I think they're pretty rubbish. I mean, Chris and I were talking about some YouTube updates, and we're like, earlier, and it's like, they seem to be very good at, like, you know, we're going to give this thing a bit of a facelift, move things around. We're talking about is the monetization section in, like, the studio where they've kind of given it a bit of a reorganize, but still haven't fixed the things that we actually want them to fix. Like, how the member tracking. It's hard. You have to just like, it's not too bad for us because relatively small pool of members. But if we were a massive channel that had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of members, it'd be so hard to keep on top of them all because the tools YouTube give you are terrible. They still haven't fixed the YouTube Studio app on the phone, so I cannot schedule anything. If it's something scheduled on my phone, like for members, I can't then just push it live for everyone from my phone. That is basic functionality, in my opinion. I can't do I would love to be able to do a double scheduling, so I can schedule a show to go live at a certain time for members and then go live, then push live to everyone else at a later date. Can't do that. So every week for CloudQuest, and Chris does the same now for Talking the PS, we have to go in and from a PC, because you can't do it on your phone, physically change the scheduling.
Yeah, and it's just it's a bit of a weird one. I understand why they have to get the opinions of bigger player tech, bigger players in the space, in Google and Nvidia, but it just seems like another thing to drag this entire process on. And it's what's the saying about too many opinions, too many cooks or whatever.
Absolutely. I really hope there's just a funny moment in when it does go to court, if they need to testify, just a Microsoft lawyer calling out a Google representative in saying sorry, what industry, what exactly footing do you have in this? What's your platform called again? And just watch the lawyer go, I knew you were going to bring up Stadia, you dick. It's yeah, of course I was, because you shuttered it this year. You failed at your attempt. You have no say. I rest my case, Your Honour. And then he goes, Google guy, get out of the building.
But the amazing thing,
filed in contempt. Arrest him.
The amazing thing that the Google guy can then do back, if they pulled up Phil Spencer for something, it's oh, so Phil, you sent an email confirming that there'd be a budget set for Google Stadia Game Studios on. And then what happened next week, Phil? What happened next week?
Yeah.
Was that when you cancelled it? Yeah. So
Harrison. Yeah. Should arrest him.
But it'll. I just want this to be. I know we're supposed to talk about this as an Xbox podcast, but I'm kind of sick of talking about this.
Honestly,
deal
everyone is.
The only reason it's in the show this week is because of Google. If this was just Nvidia, I wouldn't have bothered putting it in the show. It's because it's Google coming out, and then I wanted to, that little rant we've just had.
Get out of here.
When I was writing the show, I was when you can just see, I know the way this conversation's going to go, and I just wonder, let's get it out there because of the legacy of our channel. But I think we've hit a point now with this deal where, apart from maybe a few people come up and go, oh, we have problems with this, or we're okay with it, it's going to settle a bit, I hope. And hopefully won't be talking about it again for another couple of months, as maybe other than in reference to this thing that's still ongoing in the background.
We can hope.
But yeah, it does need to hit that point where this is now background noise rather than lead story, which is actually, well, it's not even lead story, it's 45 minutes into the show. But let's move on to... Let's talk a bit about the Halo series, actually, because have either of you watched it?
I've watched the Halo, yeah.
What?
I watched it.
I refuse to sign up to Paramount Plus because it's just too many subscription services.
I got it on a free trial. It came on Amazon right about the time Halo came out. So I signed up to it then, and my girlfriend's a big kind of Halo fan, so we watched the entire thing. A lot of people trashed it and said it was complete garbage and oh, this is hashtag not my Master Chief type of stuff. I loved it. I thought it was some of the action scenes and the CGI on the Spartans in particular was too good to be a TV show, to be quite frank.
Right. Master Cheeks, that was the thing I heard lots of because you saw his ass, didn't you?
Yeah, but the thing is, it's very hard to do a TV show and have a plot based on someone who's face Salem. You never see. Yeah.
You're not going to get any emotion out of a helmet visor.
Yeah, right.
That's the problem, yeah.
So I think there's a distinction
at least with,
you made, actually.
Bane, you got the eyes.
Yeah, it's just really difficult. So, Halo was a franchise that kind of was built on its gameplay, and then the story evolved around it to an extent. So, it's always going to be a bit less suitable for TV and movie adaptations compared to something like The Last of Us, which was so narrative and like universe driven. So, but no, for what it was, I loved the show, and apparently lots of other people did too.
Well,
But it's been renewed.
It's been renewed, but not only that, it is the #1 show on Paramount Plus last year.
Yeah,
So,
and I can see why.
I mean, I don't know what numbers Paramount Plus does because I'm like you, Chris. I just refuse to get it. Because I have a rule: one video subscription service only at a time. Because otherwise it just ballooned and I don't have that much time to watch anything. So
What have you got at the moment?
I have Now TV because I've just cancelled it. I cancelled Netflix because I need Now TV for ClickerCast. But I had Netflix for a month and the only thing I watched was Edge Runners, and I watched it the whole thing in 3 days. And then there's just never touched it again. Like there was just nothing that I looked at and go, oh, I really want to watch that.
It'll be all part of GamePass soon. Don't worry.
Yeah, there was a few things on Netflix that I was like, oh, I'm interested in that. But then the moment never came where I actually wanted to sit down and watch it, so I didn't. Again,
Now you
with
have
the
Now
exception
TV,
of Edge
Richie.
Runners.
This is completely unrelated to anything relating to Xbox, but
That's
you need
fine.
to hear it, and so does the audience.
Yeah.
Watch a documentary called Class Action Park. It's about the world's most dangerous water park, and it's kind of like a Tiger King style thing.
Oh, is this the one in America that like loads of people got injured in?
Yeah, and like a few people died and stuff like that. It's the only like water park that's attempted to do a loop water slide.
Wow.
But
You know what, I might give it a watch.
everybody should watch that.
How long is it?
It's like an hour or something.
Ah, it's not too bad then. So it's
well,
not a
it's-
series then. Like
No.
And it just goes to show as well, HBO production, just the quality of HBO knows no bounds.
Yeah, it's superb. Just like
I
we're seeing
would
for Last of Us.
Like I never watched Tiger King. I would much rather a shorter, very polished series rather than something that is trying to be like 20 hours long and just feels padded out and just a bit mediocre.
No, just watch it. The lazy river that reaches a rapid
Lazy
level
river
of
is just
7.
like the tidal waves.
It reaches like the rapids of like graded 1 to something, and that reaches like a 7, which is like something like the extreme like Colorado river.
Whitewater Rapids.
Yeah, it's like
How do we make the lazy river more thrilling? We'll put sharks in it. Let's talk about Oreos.
looping back. Yeah,
So Oreo, according to VGC News, Oreo will start selling limited edition Xbox Oreo cookies later this month. But
because
I have a big issue with because why not? I have a big issue with this though. They're not
Go
green.
on.
Like they just
what would
look
you
like
expect to
plain
be green?
Oreos.
The
that
cream or
printed.
the biscuit?
Cookie.
Either.
Whatever.
I'm okay with either, but I think there should be some green in there.
I think
Probably
you
the
run the
cream's
risk
easy
of
bit.
any foodstuffs that's green tends to not fare very well from a visual standpoint.
Yeah, but the Xbox Oreos, so like, and they're just original flavor as well.
I mean,
Also,
to be fair,
the people who eat Oreos typically don't like to eat green stuff anyway. So like, you know,
It's- you know what? If they're just the basic Oreos, they can get out anyway, because anyone who's a true Oreo fan will know it's double stuff all the way. And if these are coming out with just the basic entry Oreos, you can Xbox them up all you want, but I'm a double stuff kind of guy.
From the promo art, it's just it looks like a
original.
standard Oreo packaging, but it's got like Xbox a little bit of Xbox branding on, and on the print on the opposite side to where it actually says Oreo, it'll have either the Xbox logos like A, B, X, Y, and arrows and
do they have
kind
a
of
release
generic.
date? Oh,
They've been delayed. Need more
there will
development
be
time.
the new special edition packs, which launch later this month, will be on sale in 22 countries. So later this month. So
cool.
yes.
So they do know what a release date is.
Yes.
That's just
We
a
should
key
point
thing
out
I'd like
there
to-
is loads of Oreo-based Xbox codes you get with them. So you get skins in Forza, Halo, Sea of Thieves. You can get a cool Oreo-themed pirate ship motif.
That might
They
actually
do
be
look
cool.
quite cool. The sales have got like black and white.
Do we know if these will be replacing the standard Oreos on shelves for a little bit, or they're just going to be this other SKU?
There's
'Cause
that
if
many
there's-
Oreos in production, Richie.
If it's
They'll
just
be
like, you know, what we're doing is we're taking the normal Oreo, like original Oreo. That we're not going to sell that. We're going to sell this instead. So you're getting the same biscuit. If you just want an Oreo, it just now is an Xboxy thing for a month or two. Then that's a lot
too expensive. That'd be too expensive for Microsoft to do.
Yeah, they did Pokemon ones the other year with like little Pikachu's on and stuff. But again, just a marketing gimmick. But if you like Oreos and you get free codes and you're some crazy person who isn't buying double stuffs out there, then
I think
go knock yourself out. Yeah,
knock yourself out indeed. Because one last story I think we need to touch on is Forza Horizon leads leave Xbox's Playground Games to form their own AAA studio.
Apparently got a big chunk of investment money as well.
That's always nice. I mean, if anyone wants to give us a big chunk of investment money, feel free.
Yeah,
we'll leave Xbox Studios.
We don't have any experience or anything in doing anything about video games. But I think it's interesting in the industry where we get to that point where if you kind of hit the pinnacle of your career, you could easily just spin off and make your own studio because you kind of come with the experience and the required needs to just go and do your own thing. And we've seen it time and time again where you make AAA games, and then because of the way the engines work now, especially with like the open source of like Unreal, it just seemingly is you get to the top of your game, you work for a company, and then you just branch out, you take some of your colleagues with you, and like Rob said, you get just a little nest egg of money, and you're good to go. Because some of the developers who reach the top, like they're making like triple figure like annual wage budget, so like they have money in the bank to like even create like a little tiny indie studio. Whereas on the flip side, most indie studios just one person who is good at coding, works part-time in the background, and like they may see a win here or there, but then these guys leave with a ton of cash and the experience and the connections in the industry. No surprise. So Maverick Games, they've said they're making a AAA game. Go for it.
I was really interested. Actually, they're not making a racing game, are they? They're saying open world, which I guess could be a racing game, but
it's people from Forza. There's also I think people from EA and a couple of other studios that are jumping on. So it seems to be a mix of people from all different aspects who've just kind of bundled together to make their own studio. So it could be anything.
Well, I think when I see stories like this, what I think tends to happen is you have to. What you realise is in a lot of careers, like the further you get along in your career, sometimes the further away you get from doing the thing that you went in that career to do. So in this case, like if it's just like you're passionate about making games, at some point you might walk into work and go, I haven't actually worked as a developer now for like 5-10 years. I've just been largely in a managerial role doing administrating, and all the creative stuff that I was really passionate is why I'm in this industry is done by other people. I think that's when you tend to get people go, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to leave this big corporate structure, the security of this like salaried job. I'm going to start my own thing where I can be a bit more hands-on. It's going to be a bit smaller. And in the case of something like Forza, it's like, God, if the creative industry, at some point you get sick of making the same game, just update versions of it. It's like, Forza's brilliant. I think there's not any risk, but I think as a creative point of view, you get sick of doing the same thing.
Absolutely. And
you want to spread your wings a bit.
Yeah, and I think that's where like the rotation of game development always goes. Like we always say, the teams that made certain games, they're no longer the same team. Like Naughty Dog are not compromised with the same people who made Crash Bandicoot back in the day. No. It is a whole new roster of people, and like obviously there's a couple of veterans who still work there, but the bulk of the team is made up.
Are they the same people when they're like 25 years older?
Well, absolutely not, and that's why we get masterpieces like The Last of Us and not Crash Bandicoot 15 coming out instead. And I think it's good, but you're totally right. Yeah, if you get into the industry because you're passionate about, say, driving games, you work on a driving game, but then 10 years later, you might have changed, evolved, and changed, and then we get things like the Callisto Protocol out of scenarios like this. If we get a game on the Callisto Protocol's level, that's a new open world IP that's got nothing to do with anything else. That's great because I love seeing new IPs.
Yeah, and it could be things like you have this idea that you've been banging around in the back of your mind, but you never seem to get to do it because you've got to get in the next Forza game. You just don't have the time to work on it. Or maybe you've pitched it at Microsoft and they went for the interest and go, you know what, I'll do it myself. But I have to leave it. And if you look at your bank balance, go, I've got enough in there to support me for a couple of years because I've been quite senior in a quite a big company for a while. Mm-hmm. I can take this risk. You could see the moment where someone's like sat at home talking to the wife, and the wife just went, "Go do it." You've been talking about this for a while. We'll make it work. Just go do it. But yeah, good to them. I'm sure like Forza will be fine. I'm sure Microsoft will be fine. It also creates a space for the next people coming up from that studio to get the promotion.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But I think that's all we have time for this week. If you've liked the video, hit the like button or subscribe to the channel or your podcast feed of choice with notifications turned on so you know when all of our great content drops, like Talking the PS tomorrow, followed by tomorrow evening. Is it 8 o'clock we're going live, Chris?
8 p.m. Yep.
8 p.m. GMT, Clickercast will be breaking down everything that happened in episode 1 of HBO's The Last of Us. Cannot wait for that. And all of our live streams. Last Saturday we did our Stadia Disconnect where we said goodbye to Stadia, and we did do a bit of a first look of Stadia's first and only first party game. In
All that
Oh,
monies
sad.
that went into making Snake.
But that's everything we've got for you this week. Thank you very much for watching. My name's been Richie.
I've been Chris.
And I've been Rob.
Goodbye.
Happy Chinese New Year.
Happy Chinese. Is it Chinese? Yeah.
It's the Year of the Bunny next Sunday.
Next Sunday, alright. Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.